Welcome to an insightful journey into one of the most transformative periods in Roman history, the establishment of the Principate between 27 BC and 14 AD. In this exploration, we will uncover how Octavian, later known as Augustus, masterfully reshaped a fractious republic into a stable procession of power that still fascinates modern audiences. We begin by understanding the delicate balance between preserving cherished republican traditions and embracing a new form of governance that concentrated authority in a single leader. This unique period marks the end of chaotic civil strife and the birth of an innovative system where military might, political genius, and creative constitutional reforms blended to form the bedrock of the Roman Empire. Here, ancient power dynamics meet modern storytelling, inviting us to examine history not as a dry chronicle, but as a vibrant narrative full of ambition, resilience, and unexpected alliances. Prepare to traverse eras as we decode the political maneuvers, social reforms, and military restructuring that shaped a regime that lasted for centuries. Stay tuned as we delve deep into a transformative chapter that continues to inspire and engage history enthusiasts around the world. This compelling narrative beckons us to reimagine the past with fresh eyes indeed. To fully appreciate the revolutionary changes brought by the Principate, we must first step back into the waning days of the Roman Republic. For centuries, Rome was governed by a complex mix of elected officials and senatorial debates that sought to balance the interests of wealthy aristocrats and the broader citizenry. However, the final years of the Republic were marred by discord as ambitious generals and powerful factions competed for control in increasingly violent civil wars. These internal conflicts shattered the carefully maintained order of the state, leaving a legacy of instability and uncertainty. The collapse of traditional institutions, weakened by factional rivalries and political corruption, paved the way for new solutions to emerge. At the heart of these changes was the yearning among many Romans for stability, a desire to restore peace and order after decades of turmoil. Ordinary citizens, as well as members of the elite, grew weary of endless conflicts and shifting allegiances that undermined the republic's integrity. Meanwhile, powerful military leaders exploited the chaos, amassing personal armies and challenging the authority of the Senate. This environment of uncertainty made the idea of centralizing power in a single, strong leader increasingly attractive. Amid this backdrop, the young and determined Octavian rose to prominence. His advantageous position as Julius Caesar's heir, combined with his political acumen, set the stage for a dramatic reordering of power. Octavian understood that restoring order required bold actions that balanced the venerable traditions of the past with the pressing need for a reliable and robust government. By doing so, he would eventually transform the chaotic post-republican landscape into a flourishing empire. This detailed context allows us to grasp how the inherent weaknesses of the Republic created the perfect conditions for a new era of centralized authority to take root and flourish, leaving a legacy. During a time of intense turmoil, Octavian, whose destiny was interwoven with the fate of Rome, emerged as a master strategist and political reformer. His remarkable ascent began as he took on the consulship not once but twice, first in 28 BC and then again in 27 BC, positions that provided him with the platform to reshape governance in his favor. Octavian's approach was far from the absolute monarchical ambitions of Julius Caesar. Instead, he pursued a cautious path that balanced continuity with transformation. He recognized that while open dictatorship might promise power, it risked returning Rome to the chaos of previous eras. Instead, he opted to restore the appearance of republican governance while quietly centralizing real authority in his own hands. By symbolically returning the republic's traditional powers to the Senate and the people, Octavian cleverly built legitimacy for his leadership. Behind this facade of traditionalism, however, he retained control over the crucial military establishments and provincial commands. This dual strategy allowed him to stabilize the empire without alarming the conservative factions who treasured Rome's ancient traditions. Public sentiment, hungry for stability after decades of conflict, supported his measured yet authoritative approach. Importantly, Octavian's policies were innovative. They did not merely transplant old practices, but adapted them creatively to suit a new structural reality. in turning the military institutions into the backbone of his regime and in reconciling conflicting interests within the state, he laid the groundwork for a system that would endure for centuries. His restoration of the Commonwealth was not a reversal of change, but a calculated step towards a government that could simultaneously command respect and maintain order. Through his discerning reforms, Octavian not only minimized the risk of future civil strife, but also instilled a sense of renewed national pride among the citizens of Rome. His rise and consolidation of power was a masterclass in political strategy and remains a beacon of effective leadership even in contemporary times. By embracing both the old and the new, Octavian forged a legacy of innovation and stability that reshaped Rome's destiny, captivating the imagination of generations past and future beyond measure. One of the central pillars of Octavian's revolutionary reforms was the concentration of military power under his direct command. Recognizing that the Republic's previous downfall was partly due to divided command and unchecked generals, Octavian took decisive measures to unite the armies under a single directive force. By granting himself control over the critical provinces such as Hither Spain, Gaul, and Syria, he ensured that the regions still marked by uncertainty would remain stable through consistent leadership. In parallel, Egypt remained solidly under his authority, adding both wealth and strategic depth to his military might. This radical reorganization was not arbitrary. It was built upon the lessons of past military failures, drawing from the legacies of celebrated commanders such as Lucullus, Pompey, and Julius Caesar. Octavian's unprecedented command, known as the imperium, was not only focused on conquest, but also aimed to preserve peace within the empire. It provided him with the power to act decisively during crises and to orchestrate the complex logistics of provincial governance. Furthermore, Octavian cleverly managed the use of his title Imperator, a term meaning commander-in-chief that originated from military acclaim, but later evolved into a mark of supreme power. In provinces where his military authority was the foundation of order, the title resonated deeply, symbolizing unlimited control and inspiring loyalty among the troops. Meanwhile, in Rome's senatorial halls, he maintained subtlety in his use of military terminology, ensuring that his vast power did not appear overtly threatening to traditional elites. In every measure, the strategic consolidation of the armies under his imperium was a calculated response to the perils of internal conflict. It was both a safeguard against potential uprisings and a mechanism to enforce law and order throughout the empire. Through these actions, Octavian not only prevented the rise of rival power centers, but also laid the groundwork for decades of relative peace and prosperity under a unified command. His reorganization of military power remarkably combined firmness with pragmatism, ensuring that Rome's legacy of conquest and order was preserved for generations to come. Ultimately, this focused military strategy empowered Octavian to secure Rome's future with enduring wisdom. One of the most innovative features of Octavian's regime was the acquisition and utilization of the tribunician potestas. This special authority granted him powers reminiscent of the ancient tribunes, allowing him to intervene in legislative proceedings and offer direct protection to the common people. By assuming this role, Octavian cleverly aligned himself with the interests of the plebeians, reinforcing his image as both a guardian of the people and a stabilizer of the state. This new power was conferred upon him in 23 BC, when he resigned the consulship and was awarded lifelong tribunician authority by the Senate and the people. Alongside this, he inherited other privileges once associated with the tribunes, such as the personal inviolability and the right of intercession, which provided him with an almost sacred status. These innovations redefined political power in Rome by merging the popular support traditionally reserved for tribunes with the administrative command of a seasoned leader. The granting of tribunician potestas was not merely a symbolic gesture. It had profound constitutional implications. It allowed Octavian to control both the legislative assemblies and the Senate's decisions, ensuring that significant policies and laws aligned with his vision of order and stability. By actively participating in the gatherings of the comitia, he maintained a direct line of communication with the citizenry, further solidifying his authority. Moreover, this system of power distribution balanced the needs of Rome's diverse political landscape. It provided a means to appease both the traditional aristocracy and embrace the emerging currents of popular governance. Octavian's strategic use of the tribunician authority demonstrated that political innovation could be achieved without abandoning the cherished customs of the past. This delicate balance between old traditions and new administrative practices paved the way for a resilient system of governance that ensured long-term stability in Rome. Innovative reforms like these not only reshaped the political structure, but also set a precedent that influenced leadership styles for generations. Ultimately, the tribunician potestas was a groundbreaking political tool that merged legacy with innovation, ensuring Octavian's reforms resonated deeply throughout the sprawling landscape of Roman society. They reshaped Rome's political destiny. Through the careful accumulation of extraordinary powers, Octavian constructed a new constitutional framework that would later define the Roman Empire. Rather than create a novel office of autocratic ruler, he expanded existing roles and titles to legitimize his dominion. Essential to this process was the conferral of multiple titles such as Augustus, Imperator, and Princeps. Each of these titles carried deep-rooted significance, drawing on traditions that resonated with both the Senate and the people. The title Augustus, bestowed in 27 BC, evoked a sense of divine favor and supreme dignity, while the honorific Imperator, originally a military accolade, evolved into a permanent mark of the commander-in-chief. Finally, calling himself Princeps, literally first citizen, allowed him to claim primacy without openly declaring a kingship, thereby easing concerns among traditional elites. The establishment of the Principate was a gradual process marked by a series of constitutional adjustments. Initially, Octavian presented himself as a restorer of the Republic, returning power to its traditional institutions even as he maintained control over vital aspects of governance. His accumulation of powers was careful and purposeful, ensuring that each grant of authority could be traced back to established legal precedents. This not only prevented overt criticism from conservative factions, but also provided a veil of legitimacy that protected his rule. Over time, these successive grants of power coalesced into a system where military, civil, and religious functions intertwined seamlessly under one central authority. In addition to these honors, symbolic gestures further cemented his position. The Senate's decision to confer the title Father of his Country in 2nd AD represented a pivotal act of reconciliation between the old aristocracy and the emerging autocratic state. By accepting these multiple honors and allowing them to accumulate gradually rather than being concentrated in a single overt position, Octavian set a lasting precedent for his successors. His method demonstrated that true power could be wielded effectively by subtly reconfiguring traditional offices without inciting widespread dissent among Rome's long-standing elites. This revolutionary blend of ancient practices with forward-thinking innovation secured the continuity of power and established the enduring framework of the Principate, ensuring that Rome would remain unified and prosperous for generations to come. Moreover, Octavian's shrewdness in using these constitutional modifications fostered an environment where authority was continuously renewed, and all facets of governance, from military operations to civic administration, operated in harmonious synergy. These reforms ushered in a new era of stable governance. Octavian's reforms extended well beyond military and constitutional changes, reaching deep into the social structure of Rome. Recognizing that a unified state required not only strong leadership, but also the reinvigoration of traditional institutions, he undertook measures to restructure the Senate, the equestrian order, and even the plebeian assemblies. His actions were designed to remove elements associated with the recent civil strife and to restore the dignity and efficiency of these respective groups. In 28 BC, a major revision of the Senate's composition was implemented under Octavian's oversight, leading to the expulsion of unworthy members and a significant reduction in its size. This cleansing process re-established the Senate as a body of reputable citizens and solidified its role as the heart of Rome's administrative machinery. At the same time, Octavian granted new privileges to the equestrian order, effectively opening career opportunities in high-level civil and military services. The equestrians, soon to be recognized by their signature narrow purple stripe and even a public horse, became indispensable to the running of the imperial administration. Their rise symbolized a merger between traditional merit and innovative administrative practices. Furthermore, the plebeian assemblies, long seen as the voice of the everyday citizen, were integrated into the new system through carefully managed reforms. Although their power was curtailed, their participation in elections and local governance continued to lend legitimacy to Octavian's regime. By balancing the interests of the Senate, equestrians, and plebs, he ensured that every segment of society had a stake in the stability of the state. This inclusive approach not only quelled dissent, but also promoted a sense of shared purpose and national pride among citizens across Rome. The strategic reorganization of these social orders was a testament to Octavian's vision of unity, efficiency, and enduring reform that would underpin Rome's enduring success. In order to secure lasting transformation, Octavian introduced various administrative innovations that streamlined decision-making processes, enhanced fiscal management, and integrated newly rising social classes into the governance framework, thereby ensuring that every public official and community representative functioned within a reformed system built on accountability and merit. Ultimately, these comprehensive reforms redefined governmental operations, sparked renewed civic engagement, and created a collaborative environment, laying the very foundations for a Rome that could adapt, prosper, and inspire future generations of leaders. Every policy reform reflected Octavian's unwavering commitment to reimagining Rome as a unified state where progress and tradition coexisted harmoniously. Octavian's transformative reign redefined the political landscape of Rome, establishing the Principate as a model for future governance. His strategic blending of military, political, and social reforms not only brought unprecedented stability to a previously chaotic state, but also created a legacy that has intrigued historians and citizens alike for centuries. By combining constitutional restoration with innovative centralization, he preserved the cherished institutions of the Republic while steering Rome into a prosperous, unified future. His title as Princeps and his careful accumulation of powers illustrated that effective leadership could be achieved without overt displays of tyranny. Instead, his reign demonstrated that a well-balanced government, rooted in tradition yet responsive to change, could foster both respect and loyalty among the diverse groups that made up the Roman state. Today, his legacy endures as a powerful example of how visionary reforms can reconcile contrasting traditions and modern needs. This lasting influence continues to inspire those who seek a deeper understanding of the delicate interplay between continuity and innovation in leadership and governance. Reflecting on Octavian's achievements reminds us that the fusion of tradition with strategic innovation remains an enduring lesson for any society aspiring to overcome division and build a unified future.